Hey guys, how's it going? It's Ollie here from CryptoVest.com. It's the 9th of October today, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different actually. I'm going to start off with Bitcoin and have a little overview of that just very quickly. I've already covered that this week, but I'm actually going to do a market overview of pretty much most coins in the top 35. Had to slip NANO in there, so we want to include the 35. Because basically, for most people, kind of get a feeling, at least from a lot of technical analyses that have been coming out, that the market seems like it's about to turn around in a good way. And things are looking very bullish. There's a lot of golden crossover potential on a lot of charts, particularly coins in the top 10, top 15. So we're going to look at those. There's also some really similar patterns emerging across a lot of different currencies. Some bullish, some bearish, some... We'll just have a look at all of them, really. Some that aren't particularly performing well, and we'll just sort of separate the winners from the losers and have a look at the main horses in this race. So, looking at Bitcoin, just very, very quickly, we can see that we've actually broken out of this sort of bullish pennant pattern. It's pushed now all the way to this long downtrending resistance. It's been hampering down Bitcoin since the start of this year, since we had that huge pump in January. And right now, we're right on the point, and you can see that we've just rebounded off that. We're coming back down a bit bearish now, but you can see we've got this golden crossover on the 50 to 200 EMA lines, and that's a huge sign of bullish momentum. As you can see, there's been moments before leading up to this point where we've almost had a crossover, but there's just not been enough momentum to get us there. And then recently, yesterday's pump at about 1 o'clock UTC plus 1, we managed to push up and hit this point. Obviously, this has been a very key resistance throughout the year, and it's been able to push BTC down again, but it's looking pretty good. I mean, you can see wicks on top of the candles here as bears already been trying to push down, but just recently, bulls are now starting to fight back. There's a long wick beneath this current candle, so bulls are pushing it back now, keeping it above $6,600. So we may see it push through here, or we may see it throw back onto this and act as a support and then maybe push again. But yeah, that crossover is a great sign. So let's take a look at some coins now through the market that have already had their bullish crossovers. And that are all sort of looking very similar. So we'll start with Seer Coin, and again, we did this very recently. We're doing this all against BTC, guys. And as you can see, so we'll zoom back a little bit. So you can see Seer Coin had that big run up. They announced they were going to reset their proof of work function, and that's had a huge effect on the price. And we've already got this crossover. It came from all the way down, started consolidated, almost had this pinch, came back down, and now we've got it. And Seer Coin has a very similar feel to it that EOS does. And let's have a little look at EOS very quickly. EOS is doing the same thing. So we had the 50 EMA came swooping low, almost peaked, came down again. We actually had a peak over here, and now we've crossed over, and we're just starting to climb. And EOS is now tracking really nicely inside this sort of reversal pennant, where it's coming from the top, and usually this is bearish, but as you can see, it's actually now starting to break through. We've just had candles break through, now resting on this new support, and hopefully it can continue on from there. But we've had the golden cross on here, and actually Verge as well. I mean, we haven't heard much from Verge recently, but Verge is also showing a very similar story. We'll get rid of the bit for next one. Let's get the Binance chart up. That's a better one. Yeah, so very, very similar to Seer Coin, and very, very similar to EOS, as you can see. 50 EMA came swooping low, almost touched, came back down again. EOS, I think, came over the 200 EMA about here, but it took Verge a little bit longer, but now, as you can see, it's creeping through, and it's starting to make gains. And, yeah, I mean, if you draw lines, you can get the exact same, or borderline the exact same bullish pennant, almost, you know, in this particular chart. We'll draw from here, or probably a little bit higher there, but let's bring this one down to, yeah, we'll do it from this point here instead. But we've got another bullish pennant forming here, reversal pennants, that's looking pretty good. So that's the three there. So Seer Coin, EOS, and Verge, they've all had their golden crossovers. They're starting to consolidate and looking like they want to reverse. Now let's take a look at coins that haven't had their golden crossovers yet, but are looking very close. So Zilliqa, so something we covered last week as well. I said it was one of those coins to watch, and it looks like it's doing pretty well. Let's get a Binance chart up. Yes, as you can see, let's get this out of the way. Yeah, so really, really close now. It's Bitcoin's because we're all doing this against BTC right now, and obviously the Bitcoin market has finally started to mature a little bit. There's less volatility. We've been holding the range really well now for the last couple of weeks, or all the way through since mid-August, really through September. And as you can see, that's just allowed a lot of coins to have this very similar pattern where the 50 EMA line has finally been able to close in on the 200 EMA. And it's looking like momentum is actually finally starting to pick up off the bottom. So Zilliqa, another coin that's very, very close to having a golden crossover and picking up. And from here, we're hoping it's going to push on and recover a lot of lost ground. IOTA, again, another coin that hasn't really been getting a lot of steam lately, but as you can see, very, very close to getting a golden crossover. It's not going to take much momentum to pick it up from the line here. Same with Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is started to consolidate. It's had a little bit of a pump. It's now holding kind of flat, but it's wanting to push on again. ADA, obviously, another one. Really, really close now. This one hasn't passed over, but it's getting really, really close now. And we're looking forward to this one rising after a long time in the red. Ontology, again, very, very similar story. Consolidating nicely. This is probably one of the closest coins that haven't yet crossed over that probably will. You can see we just had a big pump yesterday morning. It's now pushed through to today. Looking really close now, that one. So Ontology is looking pretty good. Icon. So we've got Icon against Bitcoin. This one hasn't crossed over, but again, getting really close now. Even Ethereum. So let's look at Ethereum against BTC. So two of the main markets against each other. Ethereum is actually consolidating really nicely. We're still sort of down at 340,000 sats, but it's consolidating nicely. We've got accumulating nicely, along this sort of flat support here, and looking like we want to push us on. Quantum is another one. Not a Poloniex chart again. Let's get that one up. Binance. So yeah, Quantum is another one, and Amize Go. All looking pretty good. I'd say that Quantum probably is going to push a little bit quicker than Amize Go just by looking at it. So, but yeah, you get an idea. These ones are all looking pretty good. Coins that aren't performing particularly well. So it's not all coins in the top 35 and not even in the top 15, 20 are looking this way. So let's take a look at Dash, which isn't performing particularly well right now. It's had a death cross between its 50 and 200 EMA. So that's actually looking pretty bearish in the short term at least. Monero against BTC isn't doing particularly well, looking like that wants to go bearish as well in the short term. Lisk against BTC, again, we've had the death cross way back in, can't see because that's been blocked. Oh, get this out of the way. So sort of 6th of September, that's already had the bearish death cross here, so that's not looking particularly good. Ethereum Classic against BTC is in the same story, not looking like it wants to converge anytime soon. The 50 EMA is actually keeping quite well away from this 200 EMA. They're not closing in on each other, so momentum doesn't appear to be picking up for that asset. And then we have NANO as well against BTC, which isn't doing a great deal. We've had a death cross and it's now looking to break bearish, even though it was traveling really nicely inside this bullish pennant. It seems like momentum has just departed from the asset and it's now starting to continue down to lower supports. Although it seems to have found a pretty strong one here, but as you can see, the 50 EMA is not closing on the 200, so we assume that's going to be either stationary for a little while or continue bearish. Other coins in the top 10, so let's look at Ripple and Stella, and these two kind of have broken the mold of the typical trend that we're seeing in a lot of these coins because they had huge run-ups last month. So obviously Ripple has had a huge gain, and that's had its golden crossover, and it's pushed up really, really high. We had these massive gains. Started to correct a little bit now. We're still above the 200 EMA. I mean, once the candles start to fall, or so if candles fall through this 200 EMA, then that'll be a very good early sign of potentially a bearish reversal. So we want these candles to stay above this red line here. And the same sort of story for Stella. So exactly the same shape. You can see here, huge rocket, start to correct. Candles are actually looking a little bit better than Ripple. The candle's actually staying high and keeping close to the 50 EMA and staying away from that 200 EMA line. So I'd say Stella for the now is looking a little bit better than Ripple. But yeah, so that'll give you an idea, guys. So there's the sort of main ones to look out for in the market. Just to recap, will be Zilliqa, IOTA, ADA, Ontology, Icon, Ethereum, Quantum, and Amize Go. Those ones are looking like they want to push on, and they will have the crossover very soon. So yeah, so potentially some good coins to watch there. Coin, Verge, EOS for the guys that got in early before the crossover. Nice one, good spot. And then yeah, so you also got Ripple and Stella, which are still performing quite well, although they may not have the same sort of run-ups that we might expect from these other coins that are about to have their golden crossovers if the market can continue in the way it is. So yeah, just thought I'd give you a bit of a recap there, guys, to sort of show you some coins that are performing better than others in the market. And yeah, I hope you like it. Drop me a comment to let me know what you think, and we'll do a little bit of a write-up on Cryptovest afterwards, so check that out at cryptovest.com. And yeah, and please like and subscribe as well. Cheers. Thank you.